Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by J.P. Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, J.P. Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. And by Luba Workers Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com.
From Collins on St. Charles Avenue in Uptown New Orleans, we're Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, Tulane University A.B. Freeman School of Business professor and director of the Birkenroad Reports. It's business, New Orleans style.
Hi, I'm Peter Raschuti. Welcome to Out to Lunch. When people talk about the place of AI in the workforce, it's mostly doom and gloom about how AI is going to take your job. I've even sounded the alarm myself with podcasts entirely produced and hosted without the contribution of a single human being. My lunch guests today are coming at AI from a whole different angle. As he sits here eating lunch, Daniel Crowley's AI employee, Chuck, is hard at work manning Daniel's business, Hello Gravel. Now, Hello Gravel isn't a dating app. It's a gravel delivery business, gravel, little rocks. Actually, there are all types of gravel, and before you order a truckload, you're going to need to know exactly what you want, and Chuck can help you with that. Chuck, who, just to be clear, is not a human being, can also tell you how much gravel you need and answer any of your questions you might have about gravel. He'll also take your payment and schedule your delivery. AI Chuck is closing gravel sales every day. Last month, he brought in $150,000. Daniel Crowley, this is a fabulous AI story. Welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Dave Mayer is part owner and chief digital officer at a marketing company called Zehnder that's headquartered here in New Orleans, but has offices in Baton Rouge, Nashville, and Rosemary Beach, Florida. Two things about that sentence. One, Dave is a part owner of Zehnder, along with his 64 colleagues. Zehnder is what's called an ESOP, a business classification that stands for Employee Stock Ownership Plan, in which all of the employees own the company. And two, having an office in Rosemary Beach, Florida is a little unusual, so here's the skinny on that. Rosemary Beach is primarily fueled by tourism, and it's not the kind of place you go for a budget vacation. So you've got a bunch of people with a significant amount of spending power, and there's only so many hours you can spend on the beach. The rest of their vacation, they're looking for something to do that suits their personal interest. They might want to discover a good bookstore, or a great yoga class, tennis lessons, or other activities they would enjoy during vacation if they knew where to find them. That's where Dave's AI creation, Ask Seymour, comes in. Seymour is spelled Seemore. He's a turtle. Rosemary Beach is in Walton County, Florida, and Seymour the Turtle is the logo of Walton County Tourism. Dave Mayer's AI version of Seymour is on your phone. He's on vacation with you. He knows where you are, what you like, what you probably want to do next, and where to do it. Ask Seymour is like going on vacation with a local who totally gets you. Dave Mayer, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Daniel, one of the greatest things about AI is that it's capable of answering complex questions. Rather than just regurgitating answers to frequently asked questions, it assembles specific information on request. One of the biggest knocks against AI, though, is it can be wrong. It's a condition AI developers call hallucination. If your AI employee Chuck hallucinates, it could have real-world consequences, truckloads of wrong sort of gravel being dumped in the wrong place at the wrong time. How do you prevent that from happening?
Well, at this point, Chuck only sells. So when it comes to actually fulfilling the order and facilitating the order, humans are involved in that piece. Chuck does make mistakes, though. We've referred to him as he. But Chuck actually sold tarps to a customer last week and we don't actually sell tarps. So those types of things are happen. I guess what's good about the gravel industry is that the stakes are relatively low. We're just worst case scenario. There's no lives at stake. Basically, we're just selling gravel and mulch and topsoil and things like that. So Chuck does hallucinate and does happen, and so it only happens maybe like 5% of the time, but we do have to sometimes pick up the pieces a little bit.
Well, go easy on them. It's a brand new industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Delivery has become a way of life for retail. DoorDash, Instacart, CVS, Walmart, Costco. Everybody seems to offer delivery now. You've applied the same desire for delivery to gravel. I'm sure you've considered spreading out to other construction requirements. Is hello soil, hello sod, hello lumber, or hello rebar in your future?
Yeah, I think so. Hello Gravel is a pretty new business. We've only been operating for about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half from now. So we still think there's a lot of room to grow just in the gravel space. We do operate nationally. As a quick explainer, we like to say is kind of like we're 1-800-Flowers, but for gravel delivery, or Instacart, but for gravel. So we work with local suppliers across the country to fulfill the orders, but we own the whole kind of sales process. So for now, we're focused on gravel, hello gravel. I think it'll be a good problem to have if down the line we're kicking ourselves that we niche down our name too much. So, but it is part of like our thought is this kind of business model could be applied to different materials, different construction materials. But for now, we're kind of like laser focused on the gravel, but also like topsoil, mulch, like landscape materials, business model.
Dave, I guess at some point I unknowingly gave my Maps app to my calendar app permission to talk to each other. Now I get messages from my phone that if I want to be on time for my next appointment, I need to leave now. When I'm at the beach, if I add AI Turtle Seymour to my phone, does she assume that I go to a yoga class so I might like a recommendation for a vegetarian restaurant? Or does Seymour take a look at my calendar, my maps, my social media posts, Apple Pay locations, and so on to figure out that I love yoga, but I also prefer cheeseburgers?
Yeah, I think that part of it is being that it's a generative AI, it's conversational AI. So you're going to input into Seymour what you're looking to do or what your preferences are, and it's going to basically supercharge that personalization. So I might say, hey, I'm going to be in Walton County visiting the July 17th through 21st. What is there to do there? And it'll give you a list of things, and then you can say, okay, what are some family-friendly activities that I can do? And then it'll give you back that information again, and you could say, okay, now that I know what the activities are that are family-friendly, where are some family-friendly restaurants I can eat? So it helps you explore just beyond the beach. We start to move beyond the beach and give opportunities for all of the TDC members for them to be able to get exposure for just beyond the beach.
And I imagine you make your revenue from ads, is that?
It's all membership based, so it's part of the Walton County Tourist Commission. So people are members, and by being a member, you have access to participate in this.
David, it doesn't take a visionary to imagine versions of Seymour having tourism applications beyond Walton County, Florida. It seems to be very scalable. Do you have plans to spread sons and daughters of Seymour across the country and around the world?
I think so. I think we're looking at other industries that we work in, the food and beverage, the financial. Those are industries, I think, which could benefit from some of the things that we've already done from Seymour.
And Daniel, these are almost two separate questions. Who are your customers, and I guess who are your customers' customers?
So our customers primarily are homeowners, DIYers. So our best-selling product is driveway gravel. So someone that wants to redo their gravel driveway or build a new one, or just like a mulch project, or they have a walkway that someone wants to build. But all the product that we sell is in bulk. So Hello Gravel sells across the country, working with local suppliers, like I mentioned, but by the dump truck load. So our business model is that you go to our website, you can check out, figure out how much you need. You can talk to Chuck as well. There's a few different ways to buy. But ultimately, you're at the end of it, you're plugging in, okay, I need, let's say, 10 tons or 20 tons of gravel to this delivery address, and you can check out 2 days later or whenever they schedule a delivery, a dump truck shows up. So that's kind of like, we're kind of like an e-commerce website in that the flow is similar, but instead of UPS or FedEx showing up, a literal dump truck or several dump trucks show up to your home or job site. So to answer your question, basically, probably 90% of our sales at this point are homeowners, DIYers, someone that wants to, do some sort of gravel or aggregate or landscaping project on their own. They don't want to go buy a bunch of bags from Lowe's and Home Depot, but they also kind of don't have their own dump truck to coordinate delivery. So that's the
Everybody should
that's
have
the world
their
we
own
play
dump
in.
truck.
So that's our customer. Our customer's customer are, I don't know. I mean, they're just doing home projects. So.
Yeah, that's
We do have a small subset, and trying to expand into it. Probably 10% of our orders are to, contractors, people that are a little bit more recurring, like a pool landscaper or landscape architect, something like that, and they need loads of gravel.
Don't you do a
regularly.
little bit on, or maybe a big part, government contracts?
So there's two businesses. So I actually involved in two companies. One is Hello Gravel, that we're talking about now, and then Crowley Holdings, separate company, kind of separate team. But we bid on government contracts, and that's kind of how I got my start into gravel, if you will. But Crowley Holdings, we bid on a National Park Service might say, hey, we need 10,000 tons of 3/4 inch road base to redo some gravel trails, and we'll kind of facilitate those types of contracts for the government. So separate businesses, very, very different customers.
Both of you, how did you get started with AI? Are you super tech people, or just saw that this was the future?
Yeah, I've always been involved in technology and had a passion towards technology and been involved with AI for several years now. It's just really recently become accessible to the general public from that perspective, and offering opportunities that came out of that. We focus on marketing-driven solutions. So we're looking at how can we use AI technologies to improve your marketing. And we saw this as an opportunity to gain better insights into our customer base, to learn more about what they were interested in, and basically just built it around problem solving, that kind of area of marketing for our client.
Dave, you're in the business of helping companies gain exposure and increase ROI, things like that. This will probably make you very uncomfortable, but if you were just meeting Daniel now, what would be the first couple of questions you'd ask them?
Yeah, I think I would ask, specifically about, what's your return on investment for your AI efforts? What are you looking to get from that? Data is the most important thing. So how are you capturing that data, and then what are you doing with that data for those perspectives? We like to, data is very important to us. So we want to make sure that we're understanding how we're using it, and what we're using technology, some of the new AI technology, we're using what's called AI agents. And those agents are basically sifting through that data and learning, discovering patterns, opportunities for those things. And what we're able to do is to not only learn what happened, but why it happened and what to do next. So instead of having a room of data scientists sit around for hours trying to process that information, we can do it within minutes, and we have actionable insights that we're able to do. So,
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say, like our co-founder Alan Kaufman with Hello Gravel, he's the leading charge behind the AI and the AI initiatives we've done at Hello Gravel. So I can speak to them, but not as intelligently as he could. But he's obviously not here. As far as I think there's a few questions in there. Yeah, we are. So to start, Chuck is trained on our. Well, taking a step back. So Chuck, you can text with Chuck through SMS. You can also chat with Chuck on our website on kind of like the chat window. And we're starting like the beta test, actually talking with Chuck on the phone. So you can call him now. It's still very much in beta. But Chuck was trained on like our existing customer chats that we've had with customers over the last year and a half. And then we are storing all of the conversations in Supabase. So you can actually go through and like, I also, we're still very bootstrappy, kind of figuring things out and stuff. But like Alan's like launching new versions of Chuck after we've learned certain things and trying different, trying being, if Chuck's more helpful or, so we can actually like A/B test different personalities of Chuck. And we have a decent amount of Chuck is having a decent amount of conversations every day. So we have kind of like the data points to make those, to start like making tests on. I think I answered some of the questions.
Yeah. I mean, from a marketing perspective, I think that's really key is just, making sure that you have your data and analytics right, because that's going to tell you, in my opinion, which way you should move and which way you should go and what's working and how those iterations, expand and continue.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Dave Mayer from the marketing company Zehnder and creator of Seymour, the AI-powered Florida beach travel companion, and Daniel Crowley from Hello Gravel, a gravel delivery business with a single sales employee, the AI-powered Chuck. We'll continue our conversation when we come right back from this short break.
Out to Lunch is brought to you by Basics Underneath. Fine lingerie, personalized fitting, curated swimsuits and workout wear. Uptown on Magazine Street and at basicsunderneath.com. And by Tracy Moore, broker, realtor, and partner at Rev Realtors, offering over 20 years of experience representing buyers, sellers, and investors. Learn more at tracy.revrealtors.com. Additional support comes from Chateau Sew, a fabric store on St. Charles Avenue. Chateau Sew offers quality fabrics, sewing notions, and classes. Details at chateausew.com.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Dave Mayer from marketing company Zehnder and creator of Seymour, the AI-powered Florida beach travel companion, and Daniel Crowley from Hello Gravel, a gravel delivery business with a single sales employee, the AI-powered Chuck. Daniel, if Chuck iOS is so successful at bringing in revenue, can you, I guess I'm going a little far afield here, but can you license him to other companies looking for AI sales employee, or maybe don't even want to do that? Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, we've kind of like kicking that idea around. And I mean, again, it's just, I keep saying this, but we are a startup. As a startup, you just have a million ideas all the time. So it's a constant battle of trying to stay focused on the things that are working, but also there's these moonshots out there that could work. So we have kicked that idea around. We haven't taken steps towards that yet, but it's definitely possible. I mean, Chuck is closing a lot of sales, but he also gets a lot of deal flow. Like he's getting access to a lot of leads. So if you go to our website right now and fill out one of our lead forms, Chuck will actually initiate a text to you, so you could try it. You put in your name, phone number, and address, and then Chuck will actually reach out and say, "Hey, do you need help figuring out your project?" And like you can start texting within there. So he gets access to a lot of leads, but he's closing them.
And don't let anyone be able to call. There's Chuck. I think that would be like Henrietta or something like
right.
that would be fine. Dave, you obviously you're both not risk adverse. I mean, you can see that right off the bat. But you were at LSU and you didn't complete it, which doesn't, I'm supposed to be against that because I'm a professor. But it was because you just couldn't stand anymore not being delayed on your ideas. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I just wanted to get out into the world and do this. I was fortunate enough to grow up during the dot boom, and there were lots of opportunities to do this. And I was able to basically buy a book about HTML, which is the original programming language, and read it over the weekend and came back and built some websites. Said, "This is great. I love this. Let me try to keep doing more of this." And then that took me into the world of agencies, where I thought that websites were going to live. They were going to live under not an IT support realm, but they were going to be a marketing tool that was going to be used for that.
And Dave, we've been so talking about the positives of AI. Actually, both of you, does something about AI scare you?
Oh, there's lots.
Yeah.
List a couple.
There's
for
lots.
us.
There's a lot of legal, unknowns at this point in time. Again, I'm not a legal expert, but there are some cautions that you have to do, particularly around marketing and capturing data related to privacy concerns. There's also the concern about the explainability or the transparency of how the AI is making its decisions. So it kind of lives in this black box where, how did it come to that assessment? Why is it making those things? So, there's a lot of things that there are some guardrails that you need to be very cautious with. And in particularly with marketing, it's about copyright, AI is trained off of patterns. So if you're asking it to help you write a piece of content, where is that coming from? Is that something that's already been written, and is that somebody's intellectual property for that? So there's a lot of concerns when it comes to the security of it, the legalities of it, that you really have to be careful with.
Do you grade papers? Because that's exactly what we do. We worry about that. Daniel, it seems like the wild, wild west out there. I mean, every single time technology advances before the law does. Is there anything that keeps you up at night that just not only running a business, but AI in general?
I mean, not to get too deep, but it's like, what does the future look like?
Yep.
With AI, I think we all kind of worry about that. Even just, Chuck is just one example, but if Chuck gets better at closing sales than a human is, then like, what does that mean for, I don't know, jobs and job creation in the future? I don't know. But you kind of, as a business owner, you kind of have to chase the new thing and the new technology, because if not, other people will. So I don't know. That kind of worries me. What do you think about?
What gets me in the conversation is, if you lay off these millions of people, who's going to be able to afford to buy the product? When it's
right.
It's definitely a concern, I think, and we're going to see some impact of that. But I think the most important thing is that we're still not at a point where we can't remove the human in the loop. We still have to have those things that happen. The way I kind of look at it is kind of in the Industrial Revolution, when we went from a plow that was handled by a horse to a tractor. The common theme was still that you needed somebody to guide the plow or the other tractor. So I think it's going to create other opportunities for other jobs that are doing that. And I still think we're far away from it being totally taking jobs. But the one thing that I do tell people is, when they come up to me with those concerns, is I don't necessarily know we're at a point right now where it's going to take a lot of people's jobs, but people who understand AI and know how to use it in their daily workflow, it will put them at an advantage and give them an opportunity that people who are not maybe learning about this and how to use it would experience.
There's so many similarities between the two of you, but one big difference is, Dave, when you started your business, there was no AI, and when Daniel did, it was out there. So how did you make that shift? This isn't anywhere near what the business you signed up for.
It's not, but it's just a path that we've taken. And like I said, I grew up in the dot-com boom, so I was there from the invention of the internet.
You know about the bust, right?
I'm sorry?
You know about the bust.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to...
Yes. But I was able to, there was no social media at one point in time. And, we went through social media boom. I just see this as an evolution of the industry. And to be honest with you, this is the fastest that I've ever seen anything in technology, the speed at which it's advanced. And I was joking with a coworker the other day. We were doing some stuff with search engines and learning a little bit more about how search engines are now using content differently. People are starting to use tools like ChatGPT and Claude versus Google, and we had discovered something that was making citations of how the search engine was finding you. And I sent an email to my team saying, hey, this is a way that we should be considering, strategy and tactics for this. And then 8 hours later, I had to send a redaction to that because it didn't work like that anymore. So it's really just moving at a pace that is just unprecedented, I think, in technology.
Daniel and Dave, while we've been sitting here having lunch, AI Chuck is selling gravel and AI Seymour is chatting to folks about their beach vacation. It's only a matter of time till AI Peter says something like, "We've come to the end of our show." And just a reminder before you go, none of this conversation you've been listening to has been real human beings. It's all been generated by AI and is intended for entertainment only. Nothing that you've heard is necessarily true. Thankfully, that day hasn't come yet, but until it does, we'll keep making Out to Lunch, and I look forward to keeping up with both of you, real human beings, and your real-world businesses and your AI creations. Thank you, both Dave and Daniel, for taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Dave.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been actual human beings. Daniel Crowley, president of Crowley Holdings and CEO of Hello Gravel, and David Mayer, Chief Digital Officer at Zehnder. We edited the show to fit into the time slot here on WWNO. You can hear our unedited conversation and find out more about Daniel, Dave, Chuck, and Seymour by listening to the Out to Lunch podcast. You can find and subscribe to the Out to Lunch podcast on your podcast app and on our website, itsneworleans.com. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from the show on itsneworleans.com and on our Out to Lunch social media. These photos were taken today by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com and WWNO 89.9 FM. The producer of our show is Grant Morris, our technical producer is Eric Merle, and our researcher is Amy Irvin. Today's show is engineered by Blake Longley. I'm Peter Raschuti. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the lunch table for more business New Orleans style on Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch was recorded live at Columns on St. Charles Avenue. Columns serves lunch and dinner 7 days a week, hosts weddings and private events, features evenings of live jazz and more. Reservations for dining and hotel rooms are at thecolumns.com. Columns is a member of New Orleans & Company. More information at neworleans.com. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by J.P. Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, J.P. Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. And by Luba Workers' Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. Mitchell Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. You can hear Mitchell's music anywhere great jazz is sold or streamed, and at mitchellforeman.com.